Hi, and welcome to Weed Talk. I'm your host, Rhodes Pierre. And this week we're here with Shaleen Title and Shanel Lindsay. And ladies, will you guys give us a brief introduction of yourselves?
So I am an attorney. I am a partner of the firm THC Staffing Group.
Okay.
We primarily do recruiting focused on the cannabis industry with an emphasis on inclusion and diversity and economic empowerment. And I'm also a founding board member of the Minority Cannabis Business Association.
Okay.
And I've generally been involved with drug policy advocacy for about 15 years now.
Excellent. Shanel, you want to tell us about yourself as well?
So I am an attorney.
Yes.
I also own a business in the cannabis space. My company is called Ardent, and we make a decarboxylating machine, and our purpose is really helping to mainstream cannabis so that more and more people can understand its benefits and use it more efficiently. And I also am a founding member of Northeast Cannabis Coalition. We're a group of local business owners that are really concerned about the way cannabis legalization will roll out here in Massachusetts.
Oh, awesome. You guys are like basically the dynamic duo of the cannabis industry. You guys are wonder ladies. But so essentially you guys are entrepreneurs as well as attorneys and advocates for the community. That being said, and now that the law has been passed, okay, what are some of the benefits that you guys are seeing with the law being passed now? Being newly passed.
Yeah, it was such a great honor to be able to be one of the drafters along with Shanel of the law. This was my second time working on one. I worked on the Colorado one as well.
Yep.
I think that, every state's process is a little different, but I really liked working on the Massachusetts one because I felt like we had a group that was very focused on making this law better than what we've seen in other states. It's the first one to have a specific provision on inclusion and a positive impact on communities that have been harmed by the war on drugs.
That's very interesting. But what is it 408-4?
4A4, it's Section 5, subsection 4A4 is the provision that Shaleen and I crafted for the initiative that talks about and requires the Cannabis Control Commission that's going to be promulgating the regulations to promulgate regulations that will ensure that minorities or people that have been harmed by prohibition have access to the industry, and also that the industry generally has a positive impact on communities that have been harmed by prohibition.
Oh, okay.
And so, as Shaleen mentioned, it's a first of its kind provision that really requires this new agency that's going to be making all of the rules around this industry to consider and make sure that there are pieces of that start to address the different harms that we see in the community from the war on drugs.
Prohibition, absolutely.
Right. And it remains to see how that will be implemented, but we're working on it.
So the one in Colorado did not have that aspect to it?
It did not have that in the law.
Oh.
Looking at situations that arose that maybe people weren't anticipating but had a negative impact on people of color. Like in Colorado, Shaleen mentioned there wasn't any specific provision that would help make sure people that had been harmed by prohibition had access. But then after legalization passed in Colorado, part of the registration process, or part of the requirement, was that people didn't have prior cannabis convictions.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the disparate impact that exists everywhere when it comes to drug enforcement, that obviously had a really negative impact on people being able to access the industry. So in addition to having the provision that Shaleen mentioned, which we're so proud of having 4A4 in there, also being able to say that people who have prior cannabis convictions won't be excluded from the industry in Massachusetts, I think that is a huge benefit and a step forward. When we were sitting around the table, there was a lot of different influences that kind of shaped the 4A4. One being the idea of justice reinvestment and some of the work that's being done at the state level and at Northeastern Law School around reinvestment in communities that have been harmed, and how we could maybe take that language and use it as part of a basis to try to look at how those kind of principles could be applied to the harm reduction that would take place after legalization of cannabis.